Okay. So I start. I apologize, but we had to change a little bit the agenda, and also I only have 15 minutes, but I had another commitment that I was not aware of when I agreed to give this presentation. But I will do my best to give you as much information as possible in the shortest time. But I hope the information that is needed for you to understand what is Spark funding and what we ask you basically to present and to submit when you propose your proposal for the Spark funding. So I think Anna already gave you an overview of the BIC, if I'm not wrong.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, not a problem. I will introduce it quickly. And before going and telling you what are Spark funding, I will try to give a really wide overview of what ESA Space Solutions in Portugal does. And because there are different elements somehow, but they work together. There are different elements that are in support of the Portuguese entrepreneurs, of the Portuguese industry, and they face, I would say, at different stages of their maturity and for different purposes or scenario. And I try to explain what I mean now. Okay, we have the ESA BICS. So obviously, ESA BICS is incubation and is supporting new, I will say, entrepreneurs that they want to start a new business, and they go through a 2 years, usually incubation program. I leave this, I don't give details. Anna will give more details in what we do in ESA BICS. So the other element in ESA Space Solution Portugal are the brokers. So the brokers are focused in creating commercially focused cross-sectorial. I think I'll be sharing the notes instead. I don't know what you see. If you see also the notes.
We shared them. Yeah, we see the notes as well.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I share the other, but just because it's bigger, because I don't have notes, but I think it's, no, maybe in the next slides, in some of them I have notes, not clear. Okay, I think now it's full screen, right?
Perfect.
Okay, good, sorry. So the brokers, I would say they are focusing creating commercial focused cross-sectoral projects and supporting companies that want to create, to innovate, to develop new products, okay? And for doing this, I said cross-sectoral because usually there is a transfer of technology from space to non-space market or vice versa. So from non-space technology into the space market. I put this list just to give you, I think it gives quite an idea of what the brokers do. And this will be the link for the Spark funding. So the brokers basically, they start engaging, educating the community, okay? And then they start identifying some technology needs. And when they have the needs, they start scouting for solutions, for opportunities. They are aware of the different technology, space technology in the market. So when they found a possible solution, they act as a broker between the technology need owner and the technology provider. So this is the name broker. They build this bridge between the owner of the needs and the provider of the technology or the developer of the product. So for enabling, facilitating this application, they support usually the companies in finding relevant funding calls. That can be ESA, can also be not ESA calls. But they also have an instrument, I will call a tool, which is called ESA Spark Funding. So they are funding that they can be used to accelerate a first phase of the product development. Then after these first developments, they support in commercial agreements, in capture the socioeconomic impact, and this is more for ESA to having the picture of what's going on. Ambassadors. Ambassadors, they are somehow, I will say, the specific case of broker. I mentioned before that brokers, they can bring technology from space to non-space, and or from non-space to space. In the specific case of the ambassadors, they focus just on space data to non-space. And this is what we call downstream applications. Can be Earth observation data, can be SatNav, can be SatNav, but it's downstream, okay? And the ambassadors, they can help the industry in, before we said, also the broker helping finding opportunities for funding. The ambassadors, the opportunity that they are focusing on are the one offered by ESA Business Applications, which is a specific program of ESA that focus on downstream applications. So again, basically ambassadors are a specific case of brokers, but both of them, they have this tool, Spark Funding. And Spark Funding somehow is an instrument, a tool for the companies that are looking to innovate their products or to create a new product in their line. So they are designed for just starting, accelerating the product development in the context, again, usually of the brokers, but the companies can also approach directly the broker without having before interactions with the brokers. And these tools, they are mentioned before, they can be used in multiple scenarios. Can be space technology to a no-space market, so a spin-off. Can be no-space to space, so spin-in, or can be space activities. Or, as mentioned before, they can address the use of space assets, like Earth observation data, for instance, in downstream applications. And this is the domain of the ambassadors. As a difference, well, we mentioned at the beginning the BICs. The BICs are for young startups or for teams that they want to fund a startup. And in the case of Spark fundings, these are more for established SMEs or larger entities, but they already have products, revenues, and customers. So which is the logic? I was saying before, well, the starting point is, maybe in this slide is in the wrong place. The starting point is the end, is the customer. Is the customer with a need, which is identified directly by the product developer or by the brokers that they create a link with the product developer. And the product developer can be either the space technology provider, they can be the same entity, or can be different entity. Let me explain. For instance, the product developer can be an SME that wants to use satellite data for addressing a need of a specific customer. So in this case, Earth observation data are, for instance, Sentinel's data. So the space technology provider is ESA. The product developer is the SME that I mentioned before, and the customer is, I don't know, the farmer that wants to buy they want to have solved some needs, and they will buy the product that the product developer will develop. Or can be also product developer and space technology the same entity. Because, for instance, the product developer developed before a solution, a hardware, a piece of hardware, for having it used in the ISS, and he thinks that the same product can be used for cleaning water, for water purification on Earth, and so they want to sell this product to a specific customer. So in this case, it's space to no space, but it's spin out, it's spin off. So based on this difference between are you using is it a downstream application that use satellite data, or they use SATCOM, or they use SatNav, or is more a product that you want to develop using hardware, software, or even know-how, we have the difference between Spark for App and Spark for Tech. So Spark for App, once again, is the downstream application and usually supported more by the ambassador. Spark for Tech is more the technology transfer, let's say, from space to non-space or vice versa, and is supported by the broader category of the brokers. So, but at the end, the scope is exactly the same. So it's not technology push, it's more market pull. So the needs of the customer addressed by the product developer using technology or data that come from space or non-space in case it is spinning. So which kind of technology are we looking for? It's not research. We want to look to technology that is mature enough to be used in operations. So when you write your proposal, keep in mind we want something that has been proven to be mature as a technology. And we want that this transfer is technically feasible. Obviously, the Spark is somehow a sort of feasibility, but really the basic of this, the basic concept should have already been proven. So it's not that you jump in from a cliff without knowing if your idea will be successful or not. You already have an idea that most likely, yes, it will be successful, and it will be successful because it answers directly to the market needs. So again, the market needs is what asks you somehow to develop something to solve their needs, and using some technology that is mature enough to be put in operation and an approach that is technical feasible, you want to solve this problem. Okay, so obviously this can be what you have to develop. It really depends on the specific case, but usually is a prototype that you want to develop, a forced demonstration of this prototype to the customer, and a commercialization roadmap. And I will go back to this later. So we said that is a funding opportunity. I will say maybe it's better to say is a co-funding tool. So there are several costs that are eligible, and these are included in one of the annex to the contract that you can access, but it's not fully funded. It's co-funded because we expect that you already have a clear idea that is most likely feasible, and it will bring some revenues to you at the end. So it must be co-funded. And before I mention the difference, Spark for Tech, Spark for App, Spark for Tech, I repeat, is the broader category of technology transfer somehow. In this case, for the specific case of Portugal, the projects are 6 months projects for 100K of cost, reimbursed up to 50%, so 50K by ESA. In the case of the downstream applications, this is lower, so the project cost, the maximum project cost is 50K, and ESA will fund the maximum of 25K. So once again, 50%. Is also important to say also in this case, I mentioned at the beginning that the ambassadors are somehow the link also to a specific funding opportunity in ESA, which is ESA Business Applications Program. And so after the Spark for App, in many cases, it's possible to submit a proposal for ESA Business Applications opportunity. It depends on the degree of maturity, on the fact that the project is successful or not. I will say most likely it's possible to submit the proposal. So all the documents you can find them in the website of Space IPN PT. And I think obviously all the documents are important. Look at the template for the proposal. What I think is important, and I try to highlight here, are 2 aspects. First, contact directly Space IPN for any question, because they can support you in preparing the proposal or in giving you input on what we expect in the proposal. And it's very important, the pitch. So after the submission of the proposal, you will be invited to a pitch, and the pitch is evaluated together with the proposal, the written document itself. So it's as important as the document. What do we evaluate? These are the criteria that we consider. We consider the background and experience, so the team composition must be complete enough, partnership also with potential customers, but with also service providers that are needed for developing the idea. For instance, you must demonstrate that you have access to the Earth observation data, if this is the case, if this is needed. The business case, so which is the market, which are the users, which are the customer user pains, the value proposition, technology. Does it make sense to use it or not? Must not be technology pushed, but the technology is just a mean to solve the problem in a unique way, in a better way than the existing solutions. And the activity proposal, so how you want to develop the project. I give you some just brief, I'm running out of time, unfortunately, but I want to give you some examples that I think are quite illustrative of what we look for. Well, starting from the vision. Don't think we want to develop a product that it takes 1 year to develop and we have one customer. No, the business must be scalable. So it must be something that can, if it's a product, it must be produced in series and the market can be scalable, not only just one customer. If you want, we go to the service and try to be specific. If you want to say, we want to provide an irrigation information service to wine farmers and water boards in South Africa, this is very vague. And try to be more specific, writing, for instance, we want to provide information for vineyard irrigation twice per week, for example, delivered on mobile phones for wine farmers with a resolution of 10 meters, and then for water boards once per month, aggregated data, just a resolution, a low resolution of 100 meters is enough. The same for customers. When we want to address the customer, be specific. So users are not just the wine farmers and the water boards in this example, but they can be, well, you can say that the primary customer in a B2B model are wine farmers, but only the one with an extension of the vineyard higher than 1 hectare, for example. And then you have the water boards as a secondary B2G customer, and things like this. Be precise in who you are addressing. And again, the pain, don't think, well, we believe that there is scarcity of water, so our approach can be good. No, you should justify, you should say, well, I don't know why he skipped to the end, but he had still one more slide, and try to be specific in what you want to deliver. So be specific in what you want to address, which are the needs. That the farmers, they don't have a precise, quantitative, objective measures of the grape stress, and with satellites you can give a quantitative objective measure. So this is a good example. So these are the kind of suggestions that they will give. And again, when you write the technology must provide the better solution, I would say. It's not just because you use satellites and you do it maybe worse than the existing solutions. This is not good. It must be the best solution in the market, or the cheaper solution in the market. But the fact that you're using satellites must be motivated, justified. Last slide. Sorry, it was really rush. Last slide. The deliverables is not a grant, is a procurement. So we will ask the prototype or evidence that you developed the prototype. We will ask a commercialization roadmap with a business plan and an analysis of the socioeconomic impact and an overview of the commercial arrangement. So to show that you already have arrangement of at the end, obviously, of the project, that you reach somehow some degree of maturity with your prototype. The project, I think I mentioned, there are 6 months usually in Portugal, and there is also a final report, and that's it.